In today's video, we're covering 5 TikTokers whose hunt for viral content turned fatal. From a safari gate in South Africa to a bull elephant in Sri Lanka. But first, we start in Australia's Northern Territory, where one ignored warning sign turned a swimming clip into a tragedy that never reached social media. It was May 22, 2017, when the muddy banks of the Adelaide River in Australia's Northern Territory became the stage for a tragedy that would never make it to social media. The remote riverbank, scarred with distinctive slide marks and posted with bold government crocodile warning signs, stretched along one of Australia's most dangerous waterways. Ancient paper barks cast shadows over the murky water, while the humid air carried the earthy scent of the wetlands. This was crocodile country, and locals knew it well. 23-year-old Mason Drayle had driven here with 2 friends, chasing content for his growing travel TikTok channel. The warehouse worker from Adelaide had been building his online presence with risky outdoor adventures, each clip more daring than the last. His followers craved authentic Australian outback experiences, and Mason was determined to deliver. The trio had been road tripping through the Northern Territory for days, stopping at remote locations that promised dramatic backdrops for viral content. His friends remained safely on the bank, phones ready to capture what was meant to be a quick outback swimming clip that would showcase his fearless persona. The warning signs were impossible to miss. Bright yellow placards featuring stark black crocodile silhouettes and bold text warning of deadly reptiles. But for Mason, they represented nothing more than an obstacle to viral content. The slide marks on the muddy shore told the story of massive reptiles using this exact spot as their highway between water and land. Local rangers had placed these warnings after numerous close encounters, but the allure of forbidden footage proved too tempting. The riverbank showed clear evidence of crocodile activity: flattened vegetation, claw marks in the mud, and the unmistakable musky scent that experienced bushmen recognize as crocodile territory. The Adelaide River system harbors some of Australia's largest saltwater crocodiles, apex predators that have remained virtually unchanged for millions of years. Large dominant males commonly reach 16 to 18 feet in length and weigh close to a ton, with bite forces exceeding 3,700 pounds per square inch, enough to shatter bone instantly. Saltwater crocodiles are ambush predators, capable of remaining motionless underwater for over an hour before exploding upward with devastating speed. Their eyes and nostrils positioned on top of their skulls allow them to remain almost completely submerged while monitoring surface activity. They patrol their territories aggressively, and the Adelaide River's tidal waters provide perfect hunting grounds where fresh and salt water mix, creating an ecosystem rich with prey. These prehistoric killers possess an intelligence that sets them apart from many other reptiles. They learn patterns, remember locations, and can distinguish between different types of potential prey. The crocodile that had claimed this stretch of river as its territory had likely been observing human activity at this access point for months, learning the rhythms of visitors who came to the water's edge. Mason waded confidently into the thigh-deep water as his friend aimed the camera from shore, calling out encouragement for the perfect shot. The river surface remained deceptively calm, betraying no hint of the massive predator lying in wait just meters away. The water was murky brown from recent rains, providing perfect camouflage for the crocodile's mottled hide. For several seconds, nothing happened. Mason moved deeper, water reaching his waist as he turned toward the camera with a confident grin. Then the water erupted in an explosion of violence that defied comprehension. An enormous saltwater crocodile launched itself upward from its submerged ambush position with terrifying speed, its massive jaws clamping down on Mason's upper leg and hip with bone-shattering force. The impact sent shockwaves through the water as the crocodile's teeth, designed like railroad spikes, punctured deep into muscle and bone. The predator's grip locked in instantly, tearing severe wounds, but more critically, securing him for the pull into deeper water. The crocodile immediately dragged Mason into deeper water, its powerful tail driving them both beneath the surface with unstoppable force. What followed was the crocodile's signature death roll, a violent spinning motion that disorients prey while the predator maintains its crushing grip. Mason was spun underwater repeatedly, his body ragdolling in the crocodile's jaws as the animal's hold shifted toward his torso. Water flooded his airway as he struggled to surface, the violent rotation robbing him of breath long before blood loss could take its toll. The predator held him submerged for extended periods, surfacing only briefly before forcing him under again in a calculated drowning technique perfected over millions of years. Each time Mason's head neared the surface, the crocodile dragged him down once more, preventing any real chance of rescue or escape. Within minutes, drowning became the primary cause of death, compounded by massive trauma from the crushing bite, broken ribs, and severe internal bleeding. The crocodile then dragged the body into the deeper river channel and vanished beneath the dark water, following ancient instincts to cache its prey. Emergency services launched an immediate search operation, but the remote location and the crocodile's behavior made recovery extremely difficult. Police coordinated with wildlife rangers and local Aboriginal guides who knew the river's dangerous currents and crocodile behavior patterns. The phone that had been filming from the riverbank was later recovered, its final recording ending in frantic shouts and splashing before authorities secured the footage as part of the investigation, ensuring it was never released publicly. The search continued for days, hampered by the murky water and the presence of multiple large crocodiles in the area. The government issued statements reinforcing the importance of heeding crocodile warnings, while Mason's family struggled to comprehend how a simple social media stunt had ended in such tragedy. The incident sparked renewed calls for stricter enforcement of wildlife safety regulations around popular filming locations, with authorities considering additional barriers and surveillance at high-risk areas. Mason's story was a stark reminder of how quickly nature's apex predators can strike when safety barriers are ignored. For Lindy Kwok, it wasn't the murky waters of a crocodile river that called to her, but the golden grasslands of a South African safari park, where a different kind of predator waited beyond a fence marked with warnings she chose not to heed. It was September 3rd, 2018, when the golden grasslands of a private safari park in Gauteng, South Africa, became the backdrop for a tragedy that would shake the wildlife tourism industry. The sprawling reserve stretched across thousands of acres of African bushveld, where acacia trees dotted the landscape, and the late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the savanna. A network of gravel roads wound through different animal enclosures, each section carefully designed to give visitors close encounters with Africa's most magnificent predators while maintaining strict safety protocols. 26-year-old Lindy Kwok had arrived at the drive-through safari park with her boyfriend, documenting their African adventure for her rapidly growing travel and lifestyle TikTok channel. The freelance makeup artist from Cape Town had built a substantial following by showcasing exotic locations and authentic cultural experiences. Her content focused on breaking boundaries and showing her audience places they could only dream of visiting. The couple had been touring the park in their rental vehicle for over an hour, following the designated route that kept visitors safely separated from the dangerous predators by reinforced fencing and strict vehicle-only policies. Their vehicle had stopped near a staff service gate marked with bold red lettering, "No entry, remain in vehicle, authorized personnel only." The gate provided maintenance access to the lion enclosure, where a pride of African lions rested in the tall grass approximately 40 meters away. The animals appeared relaxed in the afternoon heat, but their positioning near the service area was no coincidence. Warning signs in multiple languages covered every surface around the gate, emphasizing the lethal danger of leaving vehicles anywhere within the predator zones. Lindy noticed the maintenance gate was partially opened and left unsecured, likely from recent staff activity. The narrow opening was not meant for visitors, but it created a momentary access point that should never have been available. The opportunity for unprecedented close-up footage proved irresistible. Her boyfriend remained in the vehicle, camera ready to capture what she envisioned as the ultimate wildlife content. African lions are apex predators that have ruled the savanna for millennia. Perfectly evolved hunters capable of taking down prey many times their size. Adult lionesses typically weigh between 260 to 400 pounds, but their compact, muscular frames can generate explosive bursts of speed, reaching 50 miles per hour. Their powerful jaws contain 30 razor-sharp teeth designed for gripping and tearing, with canines that can grow up to 3 inches long. Lions possess exceptional eyesight and hearing, allowing them to detect the slightest movement from hundreds of meters away. These social predators live in complex hierarchies, where lionesses are the primary hunters, working together in coordinated attacks refined through thousands of years of evolution. Their hunting strategy relies on stealth, patience, and explosive violence when the moment strikes. In protected reserves, lions can lose some of their natural caution around humans, particularly when vehicles and people are frequently present within their territory. The lioness that had been resting in the grass was an experienced hunter, a mature female who had successfully taken down everything from antelope to buffalo. Her amber eyes had been tracking the vehicle's movement since it arrived, and when Lindy stepped through the maintenance gate, every predatory instinct activated at once. Lindy walked several meters beyond the gate, holding her phone toward the lions while her boyfriend filmed from the vehicle. The lioness lifted her massive head, ears rotating forward as she focused entirely on this unexpected intrusion. The predator rose smoothly to her feet, muscles rippling beneath her tawny coat as she began walking directly toward Lindy with deliberate, measured steps. The distance closed steadily as the lioness moved with the fluid grace that made her species legendary hunters. Her approach was methodical, calculated, each step bringing her closer to striking range. Then, without warning, the lioness exploded into a full sprint, covering the remaining ground in seconds with terrifying speed. The impact was devastating. The lioness launched herself through the air, her 350-pound frame colliding with Lindy and driving her to the ground with bone-crushing force. Massive paws pinned her shoulders to the earth, while the lioness's jaws clamped down on her neck and shoulder with hydraulic pressure. The predator's 4-inch canines punctured through skin, muscle, and vital blood vessels, creating wounds that would prove rapidly fatal. The lioness's bite crushed Lindy's windpipe and severely damaged her carotid artery, causing massive hemorrhaging that spread rapidly across the ground. The predator's grip shifted as she dragged her prey several meters into the tall grass. Following instincts honed by millions of years of evolution, the lioness maintained her throat hold, applying continuous pressure that prevented any possibility of breathing or calling for help. Within minutes, the combination of airway trauma and catastrophic blood loss proved fatal. The lioness remained with the body, displaying the territorial behavior typical of her species when claiming a kill. Her powerful jaws had delivered injuries that no emergency response on scene could reverse. Park staff vehicles arrived within minutes, alerted by radio calls from other visitors who had witnessed the attack. Rangers used emergency protocols to drive the lioness away from the scene, but the damage was already complete. The incident triggered an immediate investigation by South African wildlife authorities, who reviewed security footage and interviewed witnesses. The safari park faced intense scrutiny from government regulators, with many questioning whether drive-through wildlife experiences could ever be completely safe. Lindy's family released statements calling for stricter enforcement of safety protocols at wildlife facilities, while the tourism industry grappled with balancing authentic experiences with visitor protection. Lindy's tragic end served as a stark reminder that even experienced predators behind fences remain wild animals driven by ancient instincts. For Zeller Spunt, it wasn't the calculated hunt of a lioness that would prove fatal, but a playful interaction with much smaller primates at a sacred temple in Bali where carelessness near a cliff edge would have deadly consequences. It was November 3rd, 2018, when the ancient clifftop temple of Uluwatu in Bali, Indonesia, became the scene of a tragedy that would forever change how visitors approached one of the island's most sacred sites. Perched dramatically on limestone cliffs, rising 250 feet above the crashing waves of the Indian Ocean, Uluwatu Temple had stood as a spiritual beacon for over 1,000 years. The temple complex attracted thousands of tourists daily, who came to witness spectacular sunsets and experience the island's rich cultural heritage. 21-year-old Zeller Spunt had arrived at the temple with university friends, documenting their Southeast Asian backpacking adventure for his growing travel comedy TikTok channel. The communication student from Melbourne had been building his online presence with humorous travel content that showcased authentic cultural experiences. His videos often featured him engaging with local wildlife and customs in ways that entertained his young audience back home. The temple grounds were notorious for their resident population of aggressive, long-tailed macaques. Bold warning signs in multiple languages were posted throughout the complex, advising visitors to secure all belongings and never attempt to feed or interact with the monkeys. The temple's stone pathways wound along the cliff edge, protected by low barriers that maintained the site's historical authenticity. Zeller and his friends had been exploring the temple for over an hour, with several members already falling victim to the monkeys' notorious thievery. The primates had successfully stolen items from other tourists, creating a carnival atmosphere that Zeller found perfect for his comedic content. He positioned himself near the cliffside walkway, deliberately holding snacks and keeping his phone visible, hoping to capture an entertaining interaction. Long-tailed macaques are among the most intelligent and adaptable primates in Southeast Asia, with complex social structures and problem-solving abilities that have allowed them to thrive in human-dominated environments. Adult males can weigh up to 20 pounds and possess remarkable agility, capable of leaping distances of over 15 feet with precision accuracy. Their powerful hands and feet are equipped with sharp claws designed for gripping surfaces, while their long tails provide exceptional balance during acrobatic maneuvers. These primates have evolved alongside human settlements for centuries, developing sophisticated strategies for obtaining food and resources. Temple macaques are particularly bold and opportunistic, having learned that tourists often carry desirable items like food and electronic devices. They operate in coordinated groups, with some individuals serving as distractions, while others execute lightning-fast theft operations. The macaques at Uluwatu had become legendary for their brazen behavior, often snatching items directly from visitors' hands before retreating to high perches where recovery was impossible. Their intelligence allowed them to distinguish between different types of objects, showing particular interest in phones and cameras. These primates had no fear of humans and would aggressively defend their stolen prizes. The macaque that targeted Zeller was an experienced adult male, a seasoned thief who had perfected his technique through countless successful raids. His keen eyes had been monitoring the group since their arrival, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Zeller stood near the stone walkway that bordered the cliff edge, holding snacks in one hand and his phone in the other, while his friends positioned themselves to capture the perfect shot. The low barrier beside him was designed more for guidance than protection, rising only to waist height and offering minimal security for anyone who lost their footing. Without warning, the macaque launched itself forward in a blur of motion, its powerful limbs propelling it directly toward Zeller's outstretched hands. The primate's grip caught the phone in a swift snatch, wrenching the device free before pivoting instantly away. The sudden motion caught Zeller completely off guard. The macaque immediately bolted along the walkway edge, clutching the stolen phone, while Zeller instinctively moved to pursue it. His focus entirely on recovering his device, he reached toward the fleeing animal without considering his proximity to the cliff barrier. The ancient stone pathway, worn smooth by centuries of foot traffic, provided treacherous footing. As Zeller lunged forward, his foot slipped on the uneven stone surface. The momentum from his pursuit, combined with his off-balance position, carried him directly toward the low barrier. His hip struck the waist-high wall, and the physics of his forward motion proved unstoppable. The barrier offered no resistance as his upper body pitched forward over the edge. The fall was catastrophic. Zeller plummeted down the steep, rocky cliff face, his body striking multiple limestone outcroppings during the 250-foot descent. Each impact caused devastating trauma, with his skull fracturing against the jagged rocks and his spine snapping from the repeated collisions. The force of the impacts shattered ribs, punctured organs, and caused massive internal bleeding. His body finally came to rest on the rocky shore below, where the relentless waves of the Indian Ocean crashed against the base of the cliff. The combination of massive head trauma, spinal injuries, and multiple organ damage meant the injuries were unsurvivable. Temple security and Indonesian emergency services responded immediately, but the remote location and treacherous cliff face made recovery operations extremely challenging. Specialized rescue teams required several hours to safely retrieve the body from the rocky shoreline below. The incident prompted immediate reviews of safety protocols at the temple. The tragedy sparked international discussions about wildlife interaction policies at tourist sites, with many calling for stricter enforcement of existing rules. Zeller's family established a foundation promoting responsible travel practices, while the Indonesian government implemented new safety measures at clifftop tourist locations. Zeller's story demonstrated how quickly a playful moment with seemingly harmless animals could turn deadly when combined with environmental hazards. For Tabby Vane, it wasn't the mischievous antics of temple monkeys that would prove fatal, but the dark waters of an Australian river where ancient predators lurked beneath the surface. It was June 11th, 2017, when the murky waters of the lower Brisbane River in Queensland, Australia, became the stage for a tragedy that would send shockwaves through the social media community. The tidal estuary, where fresh water mixed with salt water from Moreton Bay, created a rich ecosystem that attracted both marine life and thrill seekers. The public riverside dock area, surrounded by mangroves and illuminated by scattered streetlights, had become a popular nighttime gathering spot despite numerous safety warnings. 24-year-old Tabby Vane had arrived at the dock with friends, planning to film what she called a midnight river jump challenge for her growing stunt TikTok channel. The bartender from Brisbane's Fortitude Valley had built a reputation for filming increasingly dangerous challenges that pushed safety boundaries. Her followers craved authentic, adrenaline-fueled content, and Tabby was determined to deliver something that would go viral. The group had been drinking at nearby bars before making their way to the dock. Local authorities had posted multiple advisory signs warning against swimming in the Brisbane River system due to dangerous currents, pollution, and the presence of bull sharks. The tidal waters were known to harbor these powerful predators, particularly during warmer months, when bait fish moved upstream to spawn. Marine biologists had documented numerous bull shark sightings in this exact area, with some specimens measuring over 10 feet in length. The murky brown water provided ideal concealment. The dock where Tabby stood extended 20 feet into the river, with a metal ladder providing access back to the platform. The water below was approximately 12 feet deep at high tide, with strong currents that could quickly carry swimmers away from safety. Warning signs specifically mentioned bull sharks and advised against any water activities during nighttime hours. Bull sharks are among the most dangerous large predators regularly encountered in Australian estuaries, adapted to thrive in both salt and freshwater environments. Adult females can reach lengths of 11 feet and weigh over 500 pounds, while their powerful jaws contain rows of triangular, serrated teeth capable of inflicting catastrophic injuries. Their bite force can crush bone and cause massive tissue damage. Unlike many shark species that prefer open ocean, bull sharks frequently patrol rivers, estuaries, and shallow coastal areas where visibility is poor and prey movements are easy to detect. Their ability to regulate salt levels allows them to travel far upstream. In murky water, they rely heavily on vibration, pressure changes, and chemical signals to investigate disturbances. Tabby positioned herself at the edge of the dock as her friends prepared their phones to record the stunt. The river below looked calm, but unseen currents moved beneath the surface, carrying vibrations through the channel. Without hesitation, Tabby launched herself from the dock, hitting the water with a loud splash that echoed across the dark surface. The sudden impact and frantic splashing sent strong pressure waves through the river, quickly registering to a nearby bull shark already moving along the channel. The shark approached from below and slightly behind, shielded by the murk. Tabby had just begun swimming toward the ladder when the predator lunged. Its jaws clamped onto her lower left leg above the ankle, serrated teeth slicing through skin and muscle while crushing bone. The bite caused catastrophic damage and ruptured major blood vessels, releasing a heavy plume of blood into the water. The force pulled Tabby underwater as the shark shook its head in a violent tearing motion intended to disable prey. Seconds later, the shark released and veered away into the brown darkness. Tabby surfaced screaming, struggling to stay afloat as she tried to drag herself toward the ladder using her arms. Her friends shouted and reached down, but the current tugged at her while blood spread rapidly around her. The thrashing, splashing, and growing scent trail kept the shark in the immediate area. Rather than a separate distant return, the animal circled back within moments, still stimulated by the disturbance. As Tabby struggled near the surface, the shark surged upward again in a reactive follow-up lunge within the same encounter. The impact struck her side and lower torso, knocking the air from her lungs and inflicting devastating internal injuries. The blow forced her beneath the surface once more, and the surrounding water churned briefly before going still, except for widening ripples. Within minutes, the combined trauma, shock, and rapid blood loss overwhelmed her strength. Emergency services responded quickly after frantic calls from witnesses, but confirmed shark activity, and the dangerous current made immediate in-water rescue too hazardous. Marine rescue crews secured the area and conducted a coordinated search along the tidal flow. Several hours later, professional divers recovered Tabby's body downstream after it had been carried by the current. Queensland authorities temporarily closed the riverside access point and increased monitoring throughout the Brisbane River system, while issuing renewed safety advisories. Tabby's family later urged young people to respect wildlife warnings and avoid dangerous social media stunts near natural waterways. The incident became part of a broader conversation about risk-taking for online attention and the real-world consequences that can follow. Tabby's story served as a stark reminder that Australia's rivers and estuaries can contain powerful wild predators and unpredictable conditions. For Rasper Gint, however, it would not be dark river waters that proved fatal, but the golden grasslands of a Sri Lankan national park, where a gentle giant's protective instincts could turn deadly, just as Zellerspunt's tragic encounter had already shown how quickly wildlife interactions can spiral beyond control. It was March 18, 2018, when the golden grasslands of Yala National Park in Sri Lanka became the backdrop for a tragedy that would forever change how visitors approached wildlife photography. The sprawling reserve, covering nearly 1,000 square kilometers of diverse ecosystems, stretched across the southeastern coast of the island nation. Stands of teak and palu trees dotted the landscape, while thorny scrub jungle and acacia-like dry forest gave way to open savanna, where herds of spotted deer grazed peacefully. Dusty park roads wound through varied habitats, each offering opportunities to observe Sri Lanka's wildlife. 28-year-old Rasper Gint had arrived at Yala with his spouse, young child, and a licensed local driver for what was meant to be the highlight of their family vacation. The mechanic from Melbourne had been building a wildlife travel TikTok account, documenting encounters with exotic animals that his growing audience found captivating. His content focused on getting closer to nature than typical tourists, often pushing boundaries to capture footage that would set his channel apart from other travel influencers. Their safari jeep had been following the designated route for over 2 hours when they encountered a lone bull elephant beside the main road. The massive animal stood approximately 30 meters from their vehicle, methodically stripping bark from an acacia tree while keeping a watchful eye on the approaching tourists. The elephant displayed clear warning signs that experienced guides recognized immediately. Ears spread wide, trunk raised and curled, and periodic dust throwing that created small clouds around his feet. The licensed driver immediately instructed all passengers to remain inside the vehicle per strict park regulations, explaining that bull elephants during must could be extremely unpredictable and dangerous. Warning signs throughout the park emphasized the lethal risks of approaching elephants on foot. The driver positioned the jeep at what he considered a safe viewing distance. Rasper had other plans. Despite the warnings and his family's presence, he quietly opened the passenger door and stepped onto the dusty ground, phone in hand, determined to capture walking footage that would showcase his fearless approach to wildlife encounters. His spouse and child remained in the vehicle, watching in growing alarm as he moved steadily closer to the bull elephant. Asian elephants are among the most intelligent and emotionally complex animals on Earth, possessing remarkable memory, sophisticated social structures, and protective instincts evolved over millions of years. Adult bulls can weigh up to 6 tons and stand 11 feet tall at the shoulder, their massive frames supported by pillar-like legs capable of tremendous force. Their trunks, containing over 40,000 muscles, can lift objects weighing several hundred pounds. During must, a natural hormonal condition in mature males, bull elephants become significantly more aggressive and territorial. Testosterone levels can increase dramatically, causing behavioral changes that make them extremely dangerous to approach. Their temporal glands secrete a dark, oily substance, while their behavior becomes unpredictable. The bull elephant Rasper approached was a mature male in early must, his temporal glands showing dark staining. He had been feeding peacefully when the jeep arrived, but the human presence had already triggered defensive instincts. Rasper walked steadily toward the elephant, holding his phone at arm's length to capture the approach. The distance between man and beast closed from 30 meters to 20, then 15. The elephant's warning displays intensified as the human continued forward, but Rasper either failed to recognize the signals or ignored them in pursuit of his content. At approximately 10 meters, the bull's patience reached its limit. The massive animal suddenly charged with surprising speed, enormous feet pounding the earth as he covered the remaining ground in seconds. Rasper turned to run toward the jeep, but the distance was too great, and the elephant's stride too powerful. The elephant caught Rasper before he could reach safety. The trunk wrapped around his torso with crushing force, lifting him from the ground before slamming him onto the hard-packed earth with devastating impact. The initial slam fractured multiple ribs and caused severe internal trauma, but the elephant was far from finished. The enraged bull then stepped onto Rasper's chest and abdomen with his massive front foot, applying his full weight to the human's fragile frame. The pressure instantly collapsed his ribcage, crushing lungs, heart, and vital organs. Bones snapped under the immense force while internal bleeding flooded his body. The elephant maintained pressure for several seconds before stepping back and using his trunk to push and roll the lifeless body several meters away. After several agitated steps, the bull lingered near the road, ears slightly spread and trunk raised as he assessed the surroundings. Only after a brief pause did he slowly drift back toward the vegetation, resuming feeding with guarded movements. The driver immediately radioed park authorities while attempting to comfort Rasper's traumatized family members who had witnessed the attack. Emergency medical teams arrived within 20 minutes, but there was nothing they could do. The massive trauma caused by the elephant's attack had resulted in death within moments. Wildlife authorities launched an investigation into the incident, reviewing the circumstances that led to the fatal encounter. Park officials emphasized that the tragedy could have been prevented if safety protocols had been followed. The incident prompted renewed discussions about wildlife tourism safety and the responsibility of visitors to respect park regulations. Rasper's family released statements calling for stronger enforcement of safety rules and increased education about elephant behavior for tourists. Thanks for watching. Want to see more? Click on your screen now.